Let's go. Tentacruel. Gotta fighting against a Tentacruel. Hold on a second. Got me a Haunter. This is what I've got. That's right. You want to check this out? Actually, got me a little Haunter action here. I'm about to bust this Tentacruel's head. That's what I'm gonna do. The Shadow Ball. Eat it. Look at that. Look at that. It's whole bar. It's whole bar. Haunter's the best. All right, let me turn this thing off real quick. Get back into position. I'm gonna do a video like this because this is actually how I sit like most of the time. Whenever I'm not on camera, I sit in front of the couch. I've talked about that a bunch of times before. I'm a front of the couch sitter. I don't actually sit on no couch. That's uncomfortable. All right, I think I'm ready. What up, wizards and former wizards as well, because there's probably going to be a bunch of you because of what I titled the video and all that. I'm speaking directly to you, but also I've noticed that like most Magic players, if they have one thing in common, it's that like, most Magic players have quit playing Magic. At least that like seems to be the case. I've noticed an alarming... Stupid water ball. I've noticed an alarming trend of people in my comment section of the last few videos that are like, hey man, don't play Magic anymore, but I totally watch all your videos. Which is unbelievable when you think about it. That's kind of like saying like, hey man, haven't watched much Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in a while, but I watch your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles channel. It's actually probably a good idea for a channel. Like, do a Ninja Turtles channel. I don't have a pen. I don't have a pen in my hand. I don't know why I'm doing that bit. As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, because this video isn't scripted, like at all, I don't script videos. Who does that? Who's got time to script videos? But now that I think about it, TMNT is actually a pretty good analogy for what I'm probably going to end up talking about a lot in this video, or at least like touching on a good bit, and that is that at some point, let's put it this way, you participated in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let's just assume, I don't know how old you are, but even if you're like way younger than me, you probably participated in TMNT. And then at some point, you didn't, right? And then at another point later on, there was a time where Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles content maybe appealed to you, like video essays online about like, oh, why Donatello's the best turtle? Because he just is. Sorry, anybody that likes anyone else, but Donatello is the best turtle. Or like maybe dumb, like video essays about how Splinter is actually the Shredder, because you know how YouTube is, right? We're all dumb here. But there's still going to become a point that you arrive at where you no longer are interested in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles content of any kind, and that is because... You see how I did like a title card there, even though I don't have anything written down like whatsoever for this video? That's how you write as you go along. Just a YouTube tip from me to you. You don't have to know anything about how to do this. Just like, oh yeah, that'd be a good place to put a card. And that's what I did. There's a title card right there. Like I meant to do that the whole time. I didn't, but there it is. Let's talk about the limits to nostalgia, even though I'm currently playing Pokemon on my Switch, which is purely nostalgia driven. But I guess we'll get back around to why I'm doing that and why it's important to Magic a little bit later. See, I'm still pretending like I know what I'm doing. I don't think the limit to nostalgia is necessarily when like a certain amount of content gets hit, right? And your brain just gets overloaded and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, that happens sometimes. But I think a lot of times it's just because like life stuff happens. If you want the real answer to the question in the title, I think the title's going to be a question. Maybe it's just going to be why you quit Magic, as opposed to why did you quit Magic? Or maybe I'll do it in meme format, like why you quit Magic? But either way, the answer to the question as to why you may have quit Magic is probably largely life-based. Right? I've been on YouTube for like 7 years now, and anybody that started watching me when they were like 17 years old or something is now like 24. You may have graduated college. You may have met your partner at this point. Who knows? You may have had kids. That's possible. And any of those things will definitely cause you to reevaluate your life or just not have as much time or money for some of the things that you used to enjoy. And Magic is usually the first thing to go down when you're trying to cut your monthly expenses or when you're just trying to make time for things you need to make time for. I mean, even I've quit Magic a few times. I had to write this down so I'd remember it. All right, I took a break from Judgment. I started in Fallen Empires in 1995, I think it came out in 94, but I started in 95. I took a break from Judgment to Mirrodin. That was about a year and a half. And then I took a break from Fifth Dawn to Ravnica, the first one. And then I took a break from Alara Reborn all the way to Innistrad. That's right, I missed Zendikar and New Phyrexia in that stretch. I also missed most of the Kamigawa stuff. Like, my cousin was playing Magic, so I saw a bunch of Kamigawa cards, and I loved, like, all the Elder Dragons, or the Legendary Dragon cycle. Kaiga, still my dude. Kakusho, still my dude. But I didn't really play much during that time period. And then I took a break from Dragon's Maze to Khan's Block. And then when Fate Reforged came out, the second set in Khan's Block, we started the YouTube channel. So just been kind of playing Magic ever since. But I've skipped like probably 4.5 to 5 years of Magic history in the 20 plus years that I've been playing Magic. And it's all because of life stuff for the most part, right? Like the first time that I skipped out on like a year of Magic is because I went to college. And then I met my significant other. I met my partner, Brittany. And I missed like 2 whole years of Magic after that. And then a break in the middle because of Mirrodin. Mirrodin just made me quit. So really, Fifth Dawn made me quit because it was still, Affinity was still like a thing. I was sick of playing with Affinity at that point. But, you know, everybody quits for different reasons. Sometimes it's life. Sometimes it's just because, like, Magic is not in the best state of being at that point in time. I think we're seeing a good bit of that right now, too, right? Like, Standard has not been what anyone would call good since probably Aether Revolt? Maybe something like that. Like, or maybe, like, the second Ravnica set that we got through like 2.5 or 3 years ago, something like that. It feels like that long ago. I feel like that was maybe the last time Standard could be considered good, but of course that's subjective. But for the most part, the community started hating Magic right around the time Throne of Eldraine was released. Started hating Standard, and you know, ban after ban. And I don't really think that Standard has ever really recuperated from that hit, right? Not to mention, like, that was around the time that Arena became a thing. It's just before Throne of Eldraine, really. And I think that Throne of Eldraine being so overpowered and Arena being like the primary way to play Magic, not only then, but like especially as the pandemic hit, a lot of people stopped playing paper Magic, and a lot of people started playing more digital Magic. And I think that's when the, if you'll pardon the pun, the magic went out of a lot of our lives. It wasn't necessarily because we had kids or spouses or jobs or other commitments. All of us that were still playing the game after all of those things really experienced a pretty massive hit with the 1-2 combination that was Throne of Eldraine meta Arena. You know, like, I hate to say it because it sounds so like cheese, but it's true that I think a lot of us didn't realize that the most important part of Magic the Gathering was the gathering. I mean, I know it's a friends we made along the way and like qaw.mp3.soundwave.waveform, but I still think that if we need to acknowledge that maybe the way we play Magic and enjoy Magic is different now, and that's it's not as good as it used to be because we just play against people on computer screens that we look at as like CPU controlled bots, even though they're not, rather than people who, you know, we have a conversation with in the middle of the game. We shake their hand before and after and all that, right? And we actually say like, oh, cool deck. Whereas sometimes when you're playing ranked and it's your 3rd loss in a row and you can't draw lands or you draw too many lands, you kind of, you act differently than you would in real life, don't you? As a matter of fact, like, even as someone who has a degree of like social anxiety, I have some actually pretty serious social anxiety. I still think that it's a more stressful situation some of the times playing online than it is playing in real life, where, like, you know, most of the time I'm playing against my friend who I like. So, like, when they succeed, I'm not like, oh, you know, and there's not like a ladder thing at stake, right? Or anything like that. There's not like a lot of pride wrapped up in this deck. Because, you know, when I'm playing in real life, a lot of the time, there's a difference. I think that, like, playing on Arena has made a lot of us spikes, right? Because, like, when I'm playing in real life, that's why this channel was a budget channel for so long, is because, like, I'm making do with what I have in real life, right? Like, oh, I'm going to spend $25 or $35 on this deck. and I'm going to make a theme, and it's going to work out, and what are the best cards if I don't have much money, right? And I'll play against my friend who's also kind of doing the same thing with his deck building restrictions or her deck building restrictions. Whereas online, it's just like, I got wild cards, bud. I got 4 Luminarch Aspirants. I got 4 Brutal Cathars, man. Like, what are you going to do? Whereas in real life, I think it'd be much harder to put together some of the decks that I put together on Arena. I mean, they say that, like, Arena isn't Magic. I mean, they don't say that. I think, well, a lot of people do. But I'm one of the people who does say that. And to me, like, playing Arena, it's fun. You know, it can be a fun little experience and all that. But it's not necessarily at all the same as just, like, looking through a pile of Magic cards. Like, looking at this box that says Urza's Saga on it and came from 1998 is 100 times more nostalgic to me than literally anything that you could do on Magic Arena. Like, let's look through some Magic cards together. Do you mind if we do that, you guys? That would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? Let's check that out. Like, you know, sometimes I think that this, again, is just more nostalgic than actually playing a game of Magic the Gathering on Arena. I mean, you'll note as we go through these cards that a lot of these cards, like, they may not have a significance to you, each and every one of them, but basically every single one of these cards that we go through is going to have significance to somebody in the audience. Even this Pirage of Yerborg, right? Skull of Orm from the Dark, Leviathan, Uncle Istvan, a fan favorite, right? Like, this Masticore. Like, that's relatively new in my mind as a Magic player, right? But that's going to mean something to a lot of people. This Pendlehaven, this Lotus Veil, right? Like, I can't tell you how many nights in, like, 1997 or 1998 or whenever this came out, 97 it says, like, I opened packs trying to find this card. That's how nostalgic it is. And, like, yeah, I know this Sol Ring and this Ivory Tower are out of the sleeve, but sometimes I like to feel a Magic card. I'm never gonna sell these cards. Ever. So sometimes I like to feel them, right? And just like feeling and looking at this Ivory Tower from Antiquities, which was a dream of mine. I dreamed of having an Antiquities Ivory Tower when I was like 11 or 12 years old. And now I have it. This Ivory Tower, just feeling at it and looking at it, means a lot more than any game of Arena that I'll ever play. This Titania's Song, this Maze of Ith, this Cathedral of Sarah, Stasis, even this, like, beat up counterspell from Mercadian Masks. Is more Magic the Gathering to me than, you know, any, let me get back towards the microphone, like any game of Arena I'll probably ever play. Arena doesn't feel like playing Magic, again, because the Gathering was a little bit more important to us than I think a lot of us realized. And yeah, you had a lot of people telling us that the Gathering was the most important part, and we're all like, yeah, that's nice, that's a good sentiment. I just want to play Magic, and we got exactly what we wanted, and the monkey's paw curled. I should have said the Curd Ape's paw. That was the perfect time to do that. Remember earlier when I said that I quit, like, what, 3-4 times for a bunch of different reasons, right? Like, some of them life-related, and then some of them because, like, I was fed up with playing Magic, like during Mirrodin and all that. There will still always come a time, at least in my experience, there were 20-something years of playing this game, where you walk back into a card shop, or where you click on a YouTube video and you decide to build the deck, right? And you get the deck, and you open that card shop door, and the little bell jingles, and everybody looks at you as they sit playing their games of Magic, and you say, hey everybody, and you sit down, and you ask if anybody wants to play Magic. I've gone through that multiple times in my life, and even though it's kind of scary every time, it never fails to happen, and it's also how I've met a lot of my really good friends. So we'll save a spot at the table for you. I mean, it's a lot like Pokemon, when you think about it. I've been playing Pokemon off and on since I was 14 years old. I played the card game, I played the video game whenever a new one comes out for the most part, and in between, I don't do much thinking about Pokemon, right? But whenever a new version or expansion or whatever, a new game comes out, I often spend a few weeks getting back down, playing some Pokemon, because I find it fun and relaxing and nostalgic, right? So I feel like Magic is the same way for a lot of people, right? And we're going to see exactly how nostalgic it is for a lot of people and how many people try to get back into the game this coming up year when not only Dominaria United comes out, but the Brothers War comes out. And then 2023 is the 30-year anniversary of Magic, and Lord knows what kind of crazy nuts they're going to pull out for that. Oh, and by the way, I see you. You're not going to get any feet pics from this arrangement. I see that you're waiting to see if I move my feet into the perfect angle on the camera where you see. No, it's not going to happen. Legs is enough. Legs is enough for one video. But the reason I think a lot of those people are going to quit a few months in is that a lot of them are going to try MTG Arena. Waka waka. But no, seriously. I think that sort of an overarching theme that I want to get into is that one of the reasons that I think people have not been enjoying Magic the Gathering as much as usual lately, I think is how I want to put that, is because of sort of the video gamification of Magic the Gathering. It hasn't always been a video game to a lot of people. I mean, we've had MTGO for a while, but MTG Arena is the most like playing a video game of any Magic that you could possibly play at this point in time. And, you know, I love Hades, but I didn't play that, you know, for 10 years, you know. It hasn't been out for 10 years, but you get my drift. I love Stardew Valley to death, and I still play it sometimes, but do I play Stardew Valley every single day the way I used to play Magic? No, and I probably never will, you know. I mean, these are just, again, a couple of anecdotal examples, but you could say that about just about any video game. You know, I loved Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! I played that religiously for 10 years, but am I still playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!? I am not playing that game, because that's just not what you do with video games, for the most part, right? I mean, some people do. And I'm still playing Pokemon, but I'm playing, I was going to say I'm playing a different version of Pokemon, but I'm not. I'm playing Pokemon Pearl, a game I've already played, but it's a different version of Pearl. So there's that. But, maybe not the best example in the world, but I do think the video gamification of Magic has gone a long way towards us getting a little bit more sick of it than we were in the past. Not feeling these cards in our hands, not being able to actually interact with another human being, and, of course, just banging out like 6 hours worth of games every single day will get you tired of something real quick. Honestly, I think we probably all just need to take a break for a while. I mean, not all of us, because we got to sustain the Wizards has to stay in business. I think they'll be okay, right? But maybe we need to take shifts or something. I mean, you know, in case you forgot, I had like a whole thing a few weeks ago. I had a heart attack. That's what you call it. That's why I can only eat raisins now. And as a result, I actually just didn't play Magic for like 2 weeks. You know, I came back to play Magic. It was awesome. I actually really enjoyed it, but obviously there was a point there where all I did for 5 years was play Magic like every single day, especially once Arena actually dropped and hit the streets, brother. I played 6 to 8 hours of Magic a day, making new decks and making content for the channel and stuff like that. I'm doing deck tech content. And that'll blow you out. That'll burn you out like super fast. And I know that there's a lot of you out there who play more Magic every day than I do, and you're not content creators. God forbid you are one. Being a Magic content creator is difficult to keep up with nowadays. I mean, you basically, like, look at CGB, you know? He finally had to take a break after doing over 1,000 videos in a row. I mean, he's the freaking Cal Ripken Jr. of Magic the Gathering YouTube. An iron horse, you know? But even he has to eventually take a break, because this is a lot more Magic than any human being should bother themselves with playing. I know a lot of you do it, and you're not even content creators. That's unbelievable to me, the amount of Magic that some people play. So it is not unbelievable to me, the amount of people who have subsequently quit Magic over the last year or two. But like I said, we'll save you a seat at the table, because once you're a wizard, you're always a wizard. I mean, you'll be back. You're watching this video. You're watching a video about Magic the Gathering, and you quit Magic the Gathering. You'll be back. You quit Magic because it's kind of lame now because it's Arena, and you play too much, and you hate it. But also because, you know, I've been doing YouTube for 7 years, And you probably have some life obligations pop up in that time, unless you started watching when you were like 9 years old. In which case you've still learned to drive. Holy God, I've been doing this for too long. Oh, if you started watching when you were 9 years old, you now know how to drive a car. We've been out here for a minute, haven't we? But if you started watching when you were 10, you can vote. Something like, well, if when you're 11, you can vote. That's crazy. By the way, this is effectively the 7-year anniversary video of the channel. I think our first video came out on like January 15th. I think I'm uploading this on the 16th. So happy 7-year anniversary. You quit Magic. Maybe that's why we went from like 70K views a video to like 7K views a video. thanks for being here. And you will come back. Like I said, saving a seat at the table for you, homie. But I love you all, and I will catch you cats later. I'm Dev from The Place. Thanks for watching, Wizards. Spread love and be kind.